We just saw McFarland, and on this show I take my friends, we go see a movie, we review it in the car, and then we have a discussion. The review part is spoiler-free, so if you're looking for a recommendation or on the fence, you can watch that part and find out whether we recommend the movie. And then if you've already seen it or don't care about spoilers, you can watch the discussion and we'll get into more of the story, more of the plot, more of what we thought, and potentially talk about plot spoilers. So here's the review. McFarland is a story of an underdog team of cross-country runners from a area. They're basically like vegetable and fruit pickers, migrant workers, basically. And Kevin Costner plays a guy that sort of gets sent to their school because he doesn't do a very good job everywhere else that he goes, and is a football coach, but he ends up starting a cross-country team because he realizes that the people at that school are good at running. And they end up competing in the first ever state championship in California. High school championship. So it's a sports movie, but it's a really, really well done sports movie. It has all of the, expected beats, and it's the high school kids and them getting through their personal issues and their cultural issues and their family issues and all of that stuff to be able to be in the team and be good in the team, and it turns into a strength that they have all this other stuff that they deal with that makes them better at what they are trying to do. And it's hard to explain what makes it better than most sports movies. I think part of what I liked about it was just how relevant the background of the story is, the way that migrant workers are treated and how they have very hard lives, and that it's not always easy for them to get out of that generation to generation, but that for them the American dream is kind of hard to reach because you can't graduate high school, let alone go to college and get do better than your parents did and be more successful. You just sort of end up in that cycle of working really, really hard all the time. So it's and I make it sound really serious and dire, and it's not serious and dire, but it doesn't sugarcoat things, and it doesn't find its drama in high school drama. It finds its drama in real economic drama, real social and cultural drama. So I really enjoyed it. Kevin Costner is sleepwalking, but it's fine. That he does exactly what he needs to do in the movie. It's no worse than something like Black or White or some of the other movies that he's been in recently. He's always just the same guy, and as long as that's okay with you, that's fine. The young cast is very good. I would recommend it. I'd say out of all the movies that came out this weekend, it's probably the strongest. I liked The Duff as well, but I think this is an easier one to recommend, and it's something that, it's a PG-graded Disney sports movie. It's pretty easy to recommend it, based on the fact that it's not boring and super, it in a way it's something that you've seen before, but in other ways it's unique and interesting. So I liked it. What'd you think?
Yeah, I liked it too. I mean, it's a feel-good movie, but and it's a predictable feel-good movie, and yet it sounds really cliched, but I laughed, I cried, I really connected with the characters in the movie, and I think you could recommend it almost universally. I mean, I think it's one of the few that I've seen that you could say really bring your whole family, and the theater was full of families, really. You know, I mean, you could bring your kids, you could bring grandma and granddad, you could, if the weather is terrible but you want to get out, it would be great for really the whole family to sit and watch. And I agree that Well, it's not all serious. There is a lot of sort of serious themes to it. And I think, well, yeah, Kevin Costner was doing what Kevin Costner does. I think the character and the role was a little deeper than a lot of that sort of genre of characters is. I mean, he really, what's his name? White. Coach White really does put himself in those boys' shoes. Like, he goes out to the fields to really see what they are living through on a day-to-day basis. And, I mean, because these boys are waking up at like 4:30, going out to the fields to pick, then going to school, then going back to the fields, and then when it's dark, practicing with the coach. I mean, that's just the commitment, like you said, of the team is remarkable, I think. And it's not as cliched as some of the movies you see.
Yeah, and it's I mean, like, it's a Disney movie and it's rated PG, and so it's a safe, it's not going to offend people at all, but it's also not completely toothless in that, it's not just, there's like a team of white kids that are bullies to them, and that's what they're trying to overcome. It's not like that. The movie's not built that way.
Well, and so I think that's the other thing, is there's no villain in this story.
Right.
It's not, and I think often sports movies tend to be like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That they pit teams against each other, and while there's a little bit of, kind of pushing and shoving and teasing, that's not the focus. The focus isn't, hey, we beat those guys. The focus is, we did our best and look how well we did. And I think that's the other thing that was kind of refreshing about it.
Yeah. So that's the review. If that sounds like a good movie, don't let us spoil it. Go check it out. We'll talk a little bit more here and get into the discussion part. So all bets are off. We can talk about anything about the movie we want to. And what else would I talk about? It actually occurred to me, and then it surprised me that they came back to it, but it occurred to me when he forgot to get the cake that it was her 15th birthday, and how important your 15th birthday is in the Hispanic culture. And it like came and went, and then like 15 minutes later, sure enough, they're gonna make a huge deal about her having her quinceañera, which also turns into like one of the scariest, worst parts of the movie. And is almost the thing that, causes him to leave, which is interesting too, because it switches from, yes, of course they're gonna at least do well at the championship. I don't know if I knew for sure that they were gonna win state, but I thought they were gonna at least, be first or second. And the fact that like the last act of the movie becomes more about everyone convincing him that he is where he should be. It's
about, and it's about community, I think, as well. About, for all of them. I mean, because one of the things, while the team members have a really hard life, the thing that they have that the other teams don't have is that sense of community.
Right.
And the value that is. The value that has for his family, and but no community comes without its warts. That there are things that come out that are dangerous, and like his wife says, I mean, there's danger everywhere. You're not completely safe wherever you go.
Yeah.
I think my favorite scene was the end. It is based on a true story. So there really was a Jim White who was a coach at McFarland in 1987, and so the very last scene of the movie is him on his bike with the team members now. I think I guess he's passed away, but at some point, and then kind of a. Oh no, he just retired.
He retired in 2003.
So with the team members running again, I think in McFarland, and then a little bit about what all of them are doing. And they're all very successful for the most part. And most of them still live in McFarland. So
and they're all like in their 40s now.
Right.
It was like 25 years ago. More than 25 years ago.
So that was kind of a nice feel-good end to a good movie.
Yeah, and that's another sports movie thing.
I know. But
Is to show the real people at the end and do that whole thing. But yeah, I liked it too. And, justified being longer than usual, than your average movie. I like seeing Maria Bello pop up in it. There were a lot of good actors in it, and I don't know them well enough to know who they are. The daughter, I've seen some other stuff too.
Yeah. And the guy she likes, he's definitely been in other stuff.
He looks like he's about 30.
Yeah.
Which isn't uncommon for high school roles, but he just looked like a beast.
Yeah.
Just massive guy. And I also know from being a former cross-country runner that, believe it or not, having short legs and being kind of stout does actually make you faster going uphill. It's bizarre, but it works. So, anyway, that's McFarland.
And on that note...
Yep. If you like the way we do these reviews, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews over at DaleMaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.